Digital Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and wow, you know, we got another. I know I can just go ahead and tell you right now, another absolutely fantastic show coming your way. We talking part four of a Black Man Point of View, Mind, Body, and Soul, in conjunction with the launching of the book tomorrow, and we got a couple more of the authors that are part of this great product. At least I think it's great. And then so they're gonna tell their story. And we got a guest host back again today, Dr. Michael Mantell. So he's going to be asking all the questions, all the tough things, and I'm talking about he always pull out everything that you all might want to know about a Black man point of view, mind, body, and soul, or just anything. So I'm looking forward to having him on. But before we bring Dr. Mantell, I gotta always bring on this absolutely wonderful executive producer and co-host, Dr. Michelle Cooley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm really doing good. I'm excited about this book. I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm just excited about the book, period. I think it's a testament to, getting the points of view from not only you as the author, but also additional Black men and what their experiences were. So we're definitely excited to hear from two of the contributing authors today. So like I said, I'm excited and I'm very proud of you.
So I'm excited. So wherever you're watching this at, whether you're watching it on E360 TV, Transfer Television, YouTube, over 30 live streaming networks. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments. You can ask us any question that you might have, and I promise you we'll get you an answer. Michelle, can you introduce the title of the show, introduce the guest, and then we're going to turn it over to the host of today's show.
Okay, well, the title of today's show is the name of the book, A Black Man's Point of View, Mind, Body, and Soul from the Voices of Other Black Men. So we're going to talk to Dr. James J.C. Cooley about his upcoming book. And we have a special guest host today, which is Dr. Michael Mantell. He is an author, keynote speaker, and cognitive behavioral coach. And we have two of the contributing authors to this book. We have retired Captain Dr. Herman Archibald on the show and Troy Rawlings, and they're going to be discussing their contributions to the book and why it was important for them to share the contents that they did. And, why do they share the specific piece and how this book can inspire and just motivate people? So let's tell a little bit about our guests today, our contributing authors. Again, Dr. Herman Archibald is retired captain, United States Navy, and as the Chief Growth Officer for Geisler LLC. He develops and executes all aspects of Geisler's LLC's growth strategy, including business development, capture, proposal, operations, strategic pricing, and many more. And then we have Troy Rawlings on the show. He's a host, comedian, actor, speaker, and author. Basically, he is more than a triple threat. His comedy and hosting style brings his amazing writing and professional and production skills to the masses every time he steps on a stage or in a TV or radio studio. And again, I just want to mention Dr. Michael Mantell, who's the guest host today. He has done so many things. He's basically an honorary guest on our show. So let me talk a little bit about this particular person. So Dr. Michael Mantell, for nearly 50 years, he's been helping people of all ages and backgrounds disturb themselves less and creating lasting positive change with compassion-based, rational, emotive behavior coaching methods. He is a member of the Science Advisory Council of the International Council on Active Aging, a longtime member of SAG, and he's a longtime psychological educator for the American Society of Hematology and a keynote speaker this year for the Philippine College of Hematology and Transfusion Medicine on physician wellness. He's a contributor to a major project for the John W. Brick Foundation on mental health and fitness training. He has so many more under his belt. I'm going to turn the show over to him, Dr. Michael Mantell, as the guest host on the show.
Hello. How you doing, sir? Hi. It's always a pleasure having you on, especially when I get to sit on this side of the fence, and let you answer questions. So welcome back, my friend. Welcome back. Hope you having a wonderful, wonderful day today.
Well, thank you. I just want to express to you and to Dr. Michelle that what kind of a deep honor this is for me to have the opportunity to guest host yet again alongside truly the nation's leading voices on a Black man's point of view. It's a privilege. It's a true privilege, as you can imagine, for me to engage in these meaningful conversations and amplify perspectives on topics that are not often discussed. And your platform, this show, offers a chance to shed light on the experiences, the struggles, the triumphs of Black men, providing an invaluable opportunity for dialogue and understanding. We need more of this. So let's dive in.
Okay, you got it, Doc. You got it.
Let me start by asking you, Dr. Cooley, a question about the book. Now, you know I wrote the foreword, so I know a little bit about the book. Get ready.
Okay.
Here we go. When you wrote this book, what was your goal to help the public better understand the world around us as well as what it means to be a Black man? I want to get at the goal of what prompted you to write the book.
Well, Doc, one of the reasons that I even thought about this book because it was a Dr. Talisha Barry. She was doing a book where she was putting together a book called The Heart of a Black Man. And I was one of the authors that she asked to be a part of it. And that made me think, is what's in my heart? What's in my heart? And so as I was writing my portion of her book, I could not adequately put in words, 1,000 words, what was in my heart. So I wrote my piece, but then I had so much more to write. And so I wrote more and more and more. Next thing you know, I had completed 1 chapter, 2 chapters, 3, 5, 6 chapters. Because once you turn that light on, it's just kind of hard to put it down if you're going to be truthful in what you do. So my intention when I first wrote this book was just to figure out what was in my heart, what made me click, and some of the things that had happened in previous generations, some things that I experienced in life, or racism, prejudice, and all that. All of these things that made me the person that I am today. And so when I wrote the book, I wrote my portion, and I said, wow, I need to see if anybody else is thinking this way. And so I reached out to 11 gentlemen, which I trust, I believed in. And I asked them if they would mind writing 500 or 600 words, telling me what's in their heart and how they feel and how they think. And so each one of the 11 accepted the opportunity to do that. And so I said, wow, we got ourselves something, because you got 12 different points of view, but all of them come back to the same thing. What made us think the way that we think today? How could we help others that might be experiencing things and they don't want to look back or find out where he came from? If you don't know where you came from, you certainly is not going to have a pathway of going forward, knowing honestly. So I thought that writing this book, and especially with the other authors, that we had something that we could show the world. Especially young Black men, older Black men, and women, and everybody else. And I came up with, I think this book is for all men, all women, regardless of race, creed, or color. That was my purpose when I really finished this book and got everything together, was to show everybody that we all are the same. We all got purpose. we all must live together, and we must share our ideas in order to make this world better.
So you're so articulate, and the way you speak and the way you write. And last week we interviewed 2 authors. Today we have 2 wonderful additional authors. I wonder though, JC, if you could summarize, what does it mean to be a Black man in America in 2023 with all that's going on around us? Can you put it into a paragraph?
Absolutely. This is what's in my heart. To be a Black man in 2023, first of all, to be able to do some of the things that I'm doing, television show, radio, all that, write books, and be able to do these things freely. It lets you know that, wow, it's a lot of people in the past generation that fought for these things. They gave their lives, they gave blood, they gave everything to allow us to be able to express ourselves freely in 2023, and to be able to understand that it's up to us, our generation right now, to make sure that we, first of all, be mentors and role models, so that the legacy, we leave a positive legacy for our children, our grandchildren, our children's children to come, that you can set your mind, you can do anything that you set your mind to, regardless of what happened in the past. So I wear that as a Black man, as a man in general. I wear that proudly, that I have to be the example. And we also have to instill in not just Black, white, pink, gold, purple, but to everybody, that we're equal and we have purpose.
That is the goal. That is exactly the goal. And I hope this book that we're going to have out in the marketplace tomorrow in the ebook version, I'm sure hope that is the message that gets out there. Now, a quick question about the cover of the book. I love the cover of the book. I know you took a poll, and in that poll, you asked people which version of the cover. Tell me about the cover and why you liked it so much.
Okay. Actually, we had 10 original covers that was presented to me. And I wanted all of the authors to be a part, until nothing, maybe their mouth or their eyes, or it was just some symbol that shows, not the whole face and none of that stuff, that shows that, we all are equal. You just got an eye, and just being for somebody to be able to just look at it and identify who that person is. A case in point, Dr. Archibald wife, when she got the cover, she knew exactly who her husband was, right? She said, that's Arch right here. So the cover is, I narrowed it down to two covers. Then we had a poll, release it to the world and say, hey, vote on these 2 covers, and whichever one truthfully wins, that's the one we're going with. So we had over, I say, 10,000 people to vote. This cover right here won 75% of the vote. So just like it, the people enjoyed this cover, the one we chose, 75% more than the other one.
Well,
So
it shows.
Truly,
it shows. It's a great cover, and it's going to attract a lot of attention. So you touched on this a moment ago, but I want to just highlight this. And I think you may be having some feedback again, or I'm not sure. And I apologize for that. I'm not sure what we can do about that.
Yeah, yes, but I don't hear that much feedback. Do you? Can you guys still hear me? Hello?
Okay.
Not when you talk.
Oh, okay.
Must be me. But in any case, okay. So JC, why do you think it's so important today to give voice to the Black man through your book and through everything else that you do? Why is that so important, JC? Wherever JC went, where did he go?
Oh, I think they transition.
Hey, Michelle, take over. I'm locked out.
Oh, okay.
We see you.
Then I'm gonna ask our two guests. Whenever JC comes on, we seem to have the. There we go. Now we don't have the feedback.
Yeah,
So I'm going to ask you, Dr. Archibald and Troy, why do you think it's so important today to give voice to the Black man?
Well, I'll try this
Please.
on guys. Oftentimes, we are judged negatively based on some things that society has said, whether it's true or not. And I often tell my teenagers, my conjugates, that that we need to celebrate your successes, because what will happen if you throw a rock in Walmart store, every newspaper will blast your picture across, and the next thing that happens, say a young Black youth vandalized this marketplace. So I believe that if you're going to hold people accountable for the negative stereotypes, whether it's real or perceived, then we need to celebrate success. And when we celebrate success, it breeds more success. And so that's just my thoughts in a nutshell about it.
Troy, what do you think? Why do you think this book is so important at this time in giving voice to a Black man?
People like James Baldwin and Cicely Tyson would always say a key piece, that when it comes to be it the nature of white supremacy or anything along those lines, any classism, any racism, any things like that, it's the depiction in the minds of those who perceive that this person isn't the same quality of human that they are. It's a base of humanity. Our voice is the voice of men, period. Our experiences may be different. You know, you doctor, your experiences are different from mine, the next doctor, all of you doctors. It's like, so each experience is different, but it doesn't lessen the humanity of the person. And what happens is, as you ask, why is it important for our voices to be heard? Because like the doctor said, Dr. Archibald said, it's in a lot of ways, it has been perceived or portrayed that sometimes a Black man is inferior to any other man.
Right.
Because of the nature of you know, the fear, the base, and we all know the bases of, you know, there's been so many bases of what this has come to from the days of, in America, at least the days of slavery forward, but history started way before America. So I think it's just the perception and the things that are portrayed, because if we said it in a different sense, if we were sitting in a conversation in Tanzania and some people say, well, how do you think the depths of your history till now has made you who you are? We wouldn't go back to slavery. We would go back to the origin. So it's a base of just really showing a sense of creating a better sense of overall humanity versus what does this man have?
We're going to take a break. We're going to toss it back to Michelle or to JC.
I should be here. You guys can hear it, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're going to take a station break, and we're going to come back after the break, and we're going to pick it up from here. And I apologize for any difficult audio and stuff, but if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any questions that you like, and we're going to continue this conversation shortly after the break. Is Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. See you. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, Dr. Mantell is always a good. I mean, he does everything absolutely wonderful. He is leading the questions, getting all the answers, and hopefully that the technical difficulties are gone because I'm going to sit back and let Dr. Mantell continue to do his magic. And if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question you like, and I'm sure we'll get you an answer. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Doc.
Thanks very much, JC. Talking to our wonderful guests today, Dr. Archibald and Troy Rawlings, and a couple other questions here. So the book is a storytelling tale. Lots of good stories. And here, oh, look who's here with us today. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Glad to be here.
Dr. Cliff, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And don't let the technical difficulties interfere with what's going on, because the message is coming across.
The message is, that's the important thing. And you know what? The message is so strong. This message is going to get through technical difficulties. That's the least of our problems in this world, these technical difficulties. So I want to go back to this issue. The book is a tremendous opportunity to tell stories. And storytelling, you know, when you're a speaker, it's telling stories is so important. We all have stories. Do you think that these stories that we're telling in this book are connected, or will connect, I should say, with younger generations of Black children to move forward? What do you think? Go ahead, Troy.
I'll take that. And
Okay, go ahead.
The answer to that is yes and no. And I'll start with the no piece first.
Okay.
With these young kids today, they take in information, and they take in information from all areas. However, if they don't know that information is there, then they're not going to view it. So it's up to us to ensure that this book gets in front of them.
Right.
So if you're on and you're listening to this, it's up to us to go to our social media accounts. It's up to us to have the young people we're associated with to share this on their social media accounts and other media networks in order to get the word out. And the yes piece of that is the foundation. And I think both of the guests alluded to this. Without the foundation, you can't figure out where you're going. And this book lays that foundation down perfectly within the genre that our young folks consider older people. Because for us, the older people were in their 80s and 90s. But for the youth of today, those older people, that's us.
That's us.
Yeah, that's us. That's for sure. Dr. Archibald, what do you think about that? Tell us about your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wrote on purpose and how purpose can inform your today and tomorrow. Because if the generation, I call them generation now, if generation now thinks that every problem they deal with is a life-shattering issue, then they don't know how to recover from failure. Truth of the matter, in life, most of us has learned more from our failures than we did our success.
For sure.
Very much so.
And we can begin to let people know that, hey, yes, you're reading about and you see the successes now, but there's a lot of process in the middle. You know, you got the promise, you have the promotion, but in the middle is called the process, and or the sausage making. That's the failed classes that you have to retake. That's the time you might have found yourself in a discipline or a boys' home for not meeting the standards, or find yourself in the wilderness of doubt and discourage you, but you could find yourself behind on your hopes and your dreams. And so purpose, if you understand what your purpose is, and you buy into that, I may have failed, or I might be experiencing failure now, but my long term, God has a plan for me, and it's a good plan. So I need to not put my heart, soul, body, spirit, all of me need to get wrapped up into that I can be more than what I'm projecting today.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that the value to this book, and it's from a Black man's perspective because we're Black men.
Right.
And while our stories are our stories and they're unique and different, because there's not a whole lot of people in America deal with the policing challenge. I remember I had to talk to a flag officer in the Navy, and he basically asked me, "Did you have to do that?" I said, "Absolutely. My wife and I had to have that conversation with our sons and daughters. How do you interact and engage with law enforcement?" And it's not that we need law enforcement. We need that. But we also understand that people bring their perspectives and their own ideologies and misconceptions and all those things. They take them to work with them. They take them in the car with them, and they take them everywhere. So we need to be able to empower our youth with knowledge so they can make the right decisions.
I was a chief psychologist for the San Diego Police Department and worked with quite a number of other law enforcement agencies back in the 80s. And I remember having many, many, many discussions, team meetings, group meetings on the very point. Do you understand when you walk through a neighborhood, the impact that that has on the blood pressure, on the heartbeat, on the fear in people? And obviously, I'm not Black. I was raised in Newark, New Jersey. I love to tell the stories about where I was raised and who my friends were and why I'm even here today. Why am I even here today? I mean, really? But your point is such an on-target point. Troy, I'm curious, would you share a snippet of the contribution story that you offered and why you wanted to share that particular one?
In 2010, my father passed away from acute leukemia, and which I didn't know what acute leukemia was, but it's one of the leukemias that I guess some of the younger children that you see in the facilities get. Usually a 65-year-old person doesn't get it. But as we know a lot about health now, his wellness over the years, from depression to alcoholism to drug use, functioning, still went to work, still could go and host events at the bar he went to on a regular basis and be the happy guy. And everyone thought he was just a great guy. I talked about, I called it Clear and Present. And I talked about just a sense of, I guess in a nutshell, daily as a man, stepping up, waking up, stepping up, looking in the mirror, like Dr. Archibald talked about purpose, and deciding. Like we have to decide every day as men, and then as Black men, and then as fathers, brothers, sisters, husbands, whatever, to show up. Because, you can dust the things off that happen, but it takes its toll on you. So Clear and Present was more about, my father said one of the most powerful things he ever said to me. When he was just at the Veterans Hospital after he was diagnosed and they were working on things, he was still of sound mind. I interviewed him for like 2 hours, like this, like I would do on one of my shows, and asked him everything I wanted to know. And he was just a good man. He was just a good man, and just real uncut. But when I asked him what his plans were after high school, you were amazing fine artist. You into literature. They said you lettered in baseball. He said scouts were looking at you in baseball. He said, well, not too many scouts were looking at people in the 50s, Black guys in the 50s going to baseball. That was one of the things he said. But I said, what were your plans after high school? And he said, I didn't really have any plans. It blew me away because ever since I've been in school, I've been writing my goals. The books, the magazines, the contributing, the hosting, the comedy, the production of live shows. all this stuff has been in my mind. And he used to always say something, you really, I'm proud of you, really you're doing some of the things I wanted to do. And I never got that because I was like, he never wanted to be a comedian. And what he was saying is, you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was simply saying, you're doing it. And so just the fact of waking up, dusting ourselves off and stepping forward and doing it, it's clear and present. I remember a movie called Clear and Present Danger. All the military cats know that different from I do. I remember the movie. Y'all know it for real. But clear and present to me just meant having clarity of mind and being present in the moment. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and when she's with me, staying, her mother and I co-parent, but when she's staying with me, if I'm talking to people and stuff like that, if my daughter's coming over, I just want to make sure that I'm present.
Great.
So when she comes in and we can sit down on the couch and talk, I can get through all the, I'm fine, I'm good.
Right.
And be present enough to say, no, you're not, baby.
And we're going to be present enough right now to take a break. And I'm going to toss it back to JC to do that.
Wow. This is absolutely fantastic. And I like the term that we're leaving this at, because we have to be present. And Troy, a lot of times we get caught up in not being present when we get company and our kids are there and they want so hey man, I love you for making that statement, because it's so true and so fair. But we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back and we're gonna pick it up and we're gonna continue this great conversation. If you want to be part of it, all you do is go to the comments. Ask any question that you like. I promise you, this panel will get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you shortly after the break.
Chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I'm loving this. I'm loving it. I get a chance to sit on the opposite side, and can participate in in this great interview that Dr. Mantell is doing, and also just with my peers. I call them my peers because we are all in this. And maybe I'm a little biased, but this great product that's going to be released tomorrow. It's going to be released on Amazon. Right now, we are pushing for bestsellers, so we're going to drop the price. We're going to drop the price down to 99 cents tomorrow. You can go to Amazon. We're going to try to get the link out, but if we don't get it out, all you do is just click on Amazon tomorrow. The book is going to be priced at 99 cents. Buy as many of these copies as possible. Share them. I guarantee you it's going to be something in there for everybody, regardless of who you are, race, creed, or color. It doesn't matter. That's going to provide a roadmap and understanding on some of the things that we might not understand about each other, and other people might not understand about us. But it's a lesson. I tell you, it's a big secret in there for women. Women, you're going to really see what's in the heart of a Black man and how we think on certain things, and insecurities, the things that we do to build up those things that we had to put in the past in order to continue to move forward. And I believe that this book is going to cover all of those things. So tomorrow, the launching of the book, bestseller, pass it out to everybody, get everybody to go spend 99 cents. Come on, man. So I tell you, I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Mantell. Dr. Mantell, it's yours.
Thank you very much. JC, I have a question for you. And the guests have answered great questions, but I have a question for you. I want you to share a specific moment or experience that has had a profound impact on your identity as a Black man. Something very specific.
And I'll tell you, I was always told, from ever since I was little, that I would not amount to nothing. That's what they call it in the South. Boy, you ain't gonna amount to nothing. So. And I that's kind of stuck with me a little bit. So as life went on, my grandmother was the only person that said, she told me one day, she said, boy, you special, baby. You special. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not, because you're going to be something one of these days. They're going to know who you are. So to answer your question, Doc, through life, trials and tribulations, people tell you that you cannot do anything, and you start believing it a little bit. But I always had this thing about what my grandmother told me, and when someone would tell me that, and I can't do this and I can't do that, I go out and I had to prove myself right, for one thing, before I can even tackle the issue or anything. So one particular thing happened. So I went to school, and Dr. Archibald knows this. Ever since we went in the military, we enlisted guys, all this, and I locked in on this thing called education. So I went to school, got as many degrees as I could on this continuously. I guess I learned how to speak. And this particular issue, I was at the jacuzzi, just sitting back, and a lot of people kept coming up and talking to me. Just say, hey, and this white guy, older white guy, was in the jacuzzi, and he was sitting back and watching all of these people come up. And he said, he got out, he said, I don't know who you are, but if you get an education, if you go to school and get an education, you can be somebody. I looked at it, and I had one of my friends that was there right beside me. He heard him say that. He looked around and said, do you know who this guy is? You just told him that he needed to go to school and get an education. And he said, this guy got, I'm not bragging, but he said, this guy got 13 master's degrees, right? and this and that. And the guy kind of looked at me. My point is this: you cannot just look at somebody just because their skin color or whatever that might be, and just make judgment on them. And so I try to encourage everybody through my writings, through my speeches, through everything, that don't look at color, don't look at race, don't look at anything. Don't judge. Let it come to you. And so that was an experience that I had that stuck with me, and it's it still sticks with me. And I push this out there, everybody. You are special. You can do anything that you set your mind to.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's interesting because this is why we're in love. And this is why we have this respect, because I have had the same experience. Obviously, inside the heart of this white person, this white man, I grew up and was told, oh, 8th grade teacher, you're not college material. And my grandmother and mother and father always said to me, don't listen to these people. What do they know? They don't know anything. My father's stores were in Newark, New Jersey, in very impoverished neighborhoods, tough neighborhoods. We never saw those differences. We just saw people, hey, you need a pair of shoes, you don't have the money, don't worry about it. You'll take care of it. The idea was not to get stuck on the external, but to look beyond that and focus in on what is inside of us. And so we probably have had some very similar experiences. We attribute it to different things. But I want to come back to some of your guests. Let's bring Troy and Dr. Archibald and Dr. Clem back in if we can. And I'm curious, there we are. Dr. Clem, in particular, I want to know something. Who are some of the most influential figures or books or experiences that have shaped your understanding in terms of your own Black masculinity?
Well, being a young and joining the military at the ripe age of 19, I look for Black mentorship growing up, being young, and coming from the neighborhood that I'm from Compton. I didn't really have that Black mentorship. And then growing up in the military, I still wasn't able to find that mentor that I needed until I found a Master Gunnery Sergeant named Master Gunnery Sergeant Williams. And Master Gunnery Sergeant Williams, he wasn't a highly educated man, but he was a clear individual from Mississippi that understood what being Black in America was about. This guy pulled me aside one day and he asked me, he said, Master Sergeant Johnson, what are you doing? And then he laid down for me what I have done in the military, because I had done a lot. And then he started talking to me about my transition in the military. And that conversation had a profound effect on my life as a Black man moving forward, and still has a profound impact on my life today. Through books and through readings, Dr. Du Bois is one of my greatest readings, and I like reading some of the old spirituals within the Black community. I think that this book is going to be part of the foundation for our youth moving forward also. But Master Gunnery Sergeant Williams, and I like to put his name out there, he has been my mentor since I was in my 20s, and he is just a great man that's had a profound impact on myself. Master Gunnery Sergeant Williams, United States Marine Corps.
I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the respect and the honor and the dignity you have in putting him out there and recognizing him in that way. I think we all have people like that. Dr. Archibald, how about you, sir?
Yes, probably obviously my grandparents and my mom. I really didn't get a chance to engage with. I probably saw my biological father about 10 times between the age of 5 and 18. and 10 is probably too many. But he and I, ironically, he and I end up having a really good relationship. So I'm an avid believer. It doesn't matter how you start; it's how you finish.
Oh, for sure.
And he and I finished well. So he was in the hospital, and he called my mom and told my mother he needed some special funding to get some type of treatment that his insurance wasn't going to cover. And my mother told him to call your son and ask him. And he was like, Nancy, I didn't do anything for the boy. He was growing up. She said, your son is not wired that way. Go ahead and call him. And so he and I talked, and we got it taken care of. And I said, hey, Dad, here's this way I'm, you're not gonna get custody of me nor mom. I don't know what happened between you and my mother, and I don't spend a whole lot of time trying to figure it out, because all the problems I've had, 99% of them been me. I'm okay, long as I'm okay, but everywhere I go, I take me with me. So I needed you as a 5-year-old boy, but I need you just as much as a 40-year-old man to help me navigate life's problems. And he and I, to the time he passed, we had a friendship and a father, a respect. Because I look back and I said, given the circumstances, growing up in small town Aliceville, Alabama, making a poor choice, could I have done any better than he did? And that's the reality. And I came to the conclusion that I probably couldn't. But most of my heroes were preachers or teachers. My grandmother told me, she said, I can't make you a preacher, but you're going to be a teacher, because all the respected Black men in our city, so there was no Black doctors, lawyers, and none of that, but there were educators, there were business owners, and there were preachers. And she said, well, we can't make you a preacher, but you're going to go to school, you will become a teacher, and you're going to teach other men how to do this thing. And so ironically, I joined the Navy.
Well, I'm going to ask you to hold there, because we have to take another hard break. And we're going to come back with you and with Troy and Dr. Clem. Troy, I'm interested in hearing some answers from you, particularly about what mind, body, and soul means when it comes to a Black man. We'll take a break, and we'll be back soon.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you, just sitting back here, an hour does not do us any justice. We need more time than that. So but we're going to stick around. We're probably going to go past the television time by about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to take a hit on that one. I'm sorry, boss. But I want to get back into this conversation. And if you want to be part of this, by all means, just go to the comments and ask any questions. Also, I do want all of these gentlemen to know that tomorrow is a luncheon of the book. We're going to have a show. You all are welcome to come back on tomorrow as well. I mean, all other authors are if they want to come in, participate in the show tomorrow, the debut of the book, it's going to be wide open. So everyone will have the link if they want to just stick their head in and say a couple of things. But I'm gonna turn it back over to you, Dr. Mantell. We got about 10 minutes.
Right. I'm good. So listen, I have a question. The subtitle of the book is The Mind, Body, and Soul of the Black Man. Now, I teach my clients the only place that mind, body, and soul are separate are in textbooks. In real life, you can't separate mind, body, and soul. We were born in a certain way, given a certain mind, body, and soul. We can correct some of that mind stuff, some of the body stuff, maybe even work on our soul. But Troy, what does that subtitle mean to you as it applies to the Black man, the mind, body, and soul of the Black person, Black man?
Just the complete person or being. It's key because a lot of times when we go through something, like the doctor said, when we're going through something in a negative sense, or we actually do something wrong. It's not like, oh, it wasn't my fault. It might not be your fault, but it's always our responsibility. So it's a complete thing. And I think what you said earlier, doctor, about being a Black man, I think a lot of times as Black men, we're dissected in pieces. Our faults are, if some people see the good in us, some people see the bad in us, some people have different stories, some people this. And when I'm going forth and I'm doing my sex, love, relationship shows or something like that, I try to get people away from stereotyping and separating pieces of a person versus the entirety of a person. So I think when it comes to mind, body, and soul, like you said, the spiritual side, we all may have our different walks of faith and what grounds us, the body and the physical. We're realizing more and more how important health is. Health is our true wealth, because we saw at the pandemic and everything that was going on that billionaires were dying. Billionaires were afraid, just like people around the way. The complete person, I think that's a better way to look at it. And like Dr. Cooley said, for our women that are watching, you get a great perspective. This book is going to be amazing because you get an insight. And because it was a Black man asking other Black men, hey, write something from your heart. There was no woman saying, give me what you think a good man should be. And be like, well, I'm upstanding. And no, it was like, give me something from your heart.
I see why you're an entertainer.
We thought we were safe. We was like, all right, let me just turn it to him. He's like, oh, millions of people are gonna read it tomorrow. I was like, what?
So I have a quick question. Because we're coming close to this. I want to know something. What is your practice for improving the mind, body, and soul? What do you do specifically, in a nutshell? Like, what is your practice for healthy mind, body, and soul? Let's get into that for a moment.
Well, real quick, I'll say prayer, meditation, and walking. Early morning prayer walks is the biggest thing for me.
All
with
right.
the people out here.
Yeah, prayer, reading, thinking, and just quiet time, reflecting. Sometimes shedding out the noise, so I can get rid of some of the distractions, and that helps me a lot.
What about the physical part? Troy said he walks.
Oh, I work out.
Okay, good. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah, you need to see my G.I. Joe. I got my G.I. Joe now. Hey, in the words of my wife, I can hang a suit.
Dr. Clem, how about you, sir? What's your secret for a healthy mind, body, soul?
Definitely prayer. I love to read, and I love to read black work, and conversation with friends that are close to me. One of them on this network right now, Dr. J.C. Cooley. And then I exercise. We got to take care of the health.
Yeah, for sure. Dr. J.C. Cooley, tell us your practice.
Honesty integrity, and ethics. Meaning, in my opinion, is being able to be honest with yourself. Being honest with yourself from a physical, from a mental perspective, you have to do the things that is going to have allow you to have a clear mind and conscience. So you have to be honest with yourself with anything you do. What that requires physical fitness, that requires eating right, that requires meditation, that requires being able to communicate with others, communicate and accept feedback, whether it's good or bad. You accept it. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go with it, but being able to accept it and give it. So that's how I sense mind, body, and soul. Being able to just take it in, relax, know when to turn it on, know when to turn it off, know when to push back, know when to be still.
I use an acronym called THEMO, THEAMO. You have to think well in order to eat well, in order to move well. And then I say to sleep well, to love well, and then you live well. And those are the pillars that, for me, prayer is a very important part of this. Very important. I mean, it all comes back probably to the same source, different words. I always like to say, when we go up there, it's going to be different doorways, different pathways we go through. You open the door that you go through and you look around, you go like, JC, wait a minute, Troy, Dr. I thought we all had we're all here together because we're all going to be in the same place. And that mindset is so important. And that comes through in this magnificent book. So, JC, I don't know how much more time we have right now, but I know we're going to go over a little bit. But
no, we already over. So we probably got about 2 minutes, but I'm going to close it out with this.
Okay.
I close it out. It's been an absolute pleasure having each and every last one of you all on the show. I tell you, the different perspectives that we receive from each of the 11 co-contributing authors was an eye-opener to me. And it gave me not just my insight on what I thought, but also looking at the other points of view from these guys, which also teaches you something about yourself. And hopefully it teaches them something about when they read the other people submissions. I believe that this book is I think it's going to take off, and it's going to be a roadmap. Not just, like I said, not just to Black men, Black women. It's going to be for everybody, because it's history in there, it's teaching in there, it's understanding in there, and it's love. It's love. It's all about love. So I encourage everyone to go to Amazon tomorrow. The ebook will be on sale for 99 cents. Buy as many copies as you can. Share these copies with everybody around the world. And I tell you, and I encourage you, once you read it, once you get an understanding, get in touch with me. I'm going to bring some of our audience or whoever's listening. If they want to be on the show, they want to talk about some certain things, we'll make sure that Dr. Michelle Cooley will make it happen. So any closing remarks, 30 seconds or less from everybody. Let's start with you, Troy Rawlings.
Hey, just telling everybody, first off, thank you, Dr. Cooley. Thank you to all the doctors today. And I enjoyed every time we have a conversation, like the brother said, like Dr. Clem said, conversations, men talking. Like I say, we know Dr. Archibald knows the spiritual aspect of men getting together. It's like that oil, it's life. It's anointed when men get together. It's something special. So I appreciate y'all. And for everybody that's watching, go get your book.
Dr. Archibald.
Share it with everybody, because this is a piece of literature that you should have in your phone, on your shelf. But the ebooks at 99 cents, bless some folks.
Well, it's more than just name. And we got the hard copy, soft copy, we got it all. And so it's in every form.
Right.
And sooner or later, we hope to have it in audio form. That means that it's going to require you guys to work a little more. Hey, Captain Archibald, Captain Archibald, closing remark, 30 seconds or less.
Hey, thank you, team, for being a part, allowing me to share time and space with you. These have been enlightening and powerful conversations. Anytime we as men can begin to share the things that's in our heart, it only serves as to make our families stronger. So iron sharpens iron, and I'm certainly sharpened being at the table with you wonderful gentlemen.
All righty. Dr. Clem Johnson.
First of all, I'd like to thank both of our hosts. What a great show that both of you have put on today, and great questions. And I'm going out to all of my followers. I'm going out to all of my customers within my realm, and I'm going out to the young folks. This is a book that we need to have in our arsenal, and hopefully the next book is about all of our successes.
All righty. Dr. Mantell, it's back to you when we close the show.
Well, I want to thank you and JC and Dr. Michelle for entrusting me with this incredible opportunity. I'm honored to be part of this journey, standing alongside the voices that have paved the way and continue the legacy of this meaningful dialogue and the progress that will be made as a result of your book. We're going to make sure this book becomes a smash bestseller and changes the way people look at Black men and the way Black men feel and succeed and move forward. The society needs this.
Wow. Again, I want to thank each and every last one of you for taking the time to come on the show. If you have time, you'll have the StreamYard link tomorrow. That's going to be the lunch date, and we're going to have fun. And Doc, I don't know, Dr. Mantell, I don't know if you got time or not, but if it is, tomorrow is the day, lunch date, and everybody will be invited to the party. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I always have to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another great show. She is incredible. But most importantly, I have to thank our listeners and our viewers for always taking the time to listen to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll see you tomorrow.